Depression is not funny, but I'll make light of it. Suicide is not funny, but I'll joke about it. Hopelessness is not funny, but I haven't thought about one for that one. I will try, though. My name is Nishant Pandita, and I suffer from depression. But you wouldn't be able to tell if you saw me walking on the street. You'd just look at me and just be like, that's just some nerd with a skipping a step and a stupidly catchy pop song stuck in his head. But I'm not doing that because I'm happy. I'm not going to clap along because I feel like a room without a roof. I'm not happy, and I do know it. And I'm not doing these things. I don't talk to my friends, fool around, make dumb noises, make silly sound effects. I don't do that because I'm happy. I do it because I am addicted to happiness. Strong statement, epic pause, speech writing greatness. And so, addicted to happiness, it means that I have a need to remain happy. I chase and I sacrifice my own sanity and time just to remain happy because I'm scared about what will happen if I was depressed, if I was sad. And being in that sort of position made me realize a lot of things about myself and depression. And I learned that depression is not sitting in a dark room wearing all black and cutting yourself while listening to grunge music. It's not that. It's something far more deep and sinister. It's strange and it's evil and it alters your emotions. And it's not just sadness. Anger, being angry, generates adrenaline. And that adrenaline gives you a sense of power, which can stimulate your pleasure sense, which is usually numbed by depression. And so other people have become very irritable. Like depressed people become very irritable and they lash out in anger and they get angry all the time. And I've experienced this too. I've gotten to screaming fights with my sister. I run outside and yell at the world, and it's scary. But there's even more strangeness. Depression can make you happy, sort of. It's called a mania. It's when you are so sad and deeply disturbed, you can do nothing else but smile. And if I hadn't gotten help, I would just be there, a hollow person, just with a disturbed smile on my face. And that is strange, that is frightening. It's something you don't think about when you think about depression. You think sadness. But then that sadness is not a bad thing. Sadness is it's an uncomfortable emotion, yes, but it gives us a feeling of weakness. It gives us, instead of being at the podium we place ourselves on, we are at the bottom. It gives us a view from the bottom, and we look up and see other people's achievements and see other people's sorrow, and we feel empathy because of sadness. You can never truly be happy unless you've been sad at least once. And this sadness that comes with depression can also creatively inspire you. J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of the Lord of the Rings series, suffers from severe depression and PTSD after his tour during World War I. And to escape his feelings of loneliness and hatred and sadness, he created a beautiful world inside his own mind, a journey, an adventure, characters who were relatable, who had problems, who were flawed. And he'd created this world, and it was so beautiful and so creative, and it's so vast in its scale that he was able to recover. He was able to become more than what his depression was. And me personally, my depression has helped me realize that I'm a better writer. It's helped me create characters and storylines that are interesting, that have relatability, and it's funny. And I have found my path to what I'm going to do in my life and my major and what job I will get because of depression. Although can't really recommend that as a healthy way of finding your path. But it is a disease. It is negative. 50% of all suicides reported around the world have been caused by depressive disorders. That statistic goes to 75% if you include alcoholism, which is usually a very common side effect of depression. And those people aren't weak. Those people aren't cowards. They weren't emotionally hampered. They were just in a bad place. They felt like they had no other escape except one that you can't come back from. And it's sort of like if you were raised in a bad neighborhood. If you were raised in a bad neighborhood, you have a higher chance of committing crimes and going out and joining a gang. And being in a bad mental neighborhood, in a situation of stress and anger, it changes your behavior. It changes how your brain responds to stimuli. And now I'm not saying your brain's going to buy a leather jacket and start snapping as he crosses the street, but I am saying that being in that sort of dangerous situation, a stressful environment, one that's full of anger and yelling and noise, doesn't only feel bad, it also is bad for you. Being a teenager and having depression means that as an adult, I will have a weakened immune system. And because of the attacks that depression has put upon the pleasure center and my endorphins, it means that I have a risk I'm at high risk for substance abuse and addictive behavior. And that's something that's beyond just emotions. It's a real disease. And being a real disease, it is actually curable. And with this, to find the cure, you have to first find it within yourself, that you realize that what you're doing, what environment you're in, whatever you feel is negative. This is a bad thing, that you're feeling depressed, that you're not enjoying life. It's not, when I felt like I needed treatment, I had to step away from my notion of I was addicted to happiness. I just wanted to be happy all the time, because everyone wants that. I had to realize that I was not chasing happiness, I was running away from sorrow. And once you realize that you have this problem, that you have this, and a lot of people do, 3 million people in the US suffer from depression. And those are the only ones that have been noted down. It could spread far and wide. All the people I asked to help me with my speech, they always said, oh, my uncle had depression, my aunt had depression, my parents used to have depression. And it was strange to me, because it's curable. You're able to put in this effort. You're supposed to find it within yourself, and it's very hard without support. You have to talk to someone. You have to, as a depressed person, you have to make sure people know. You have to talk to your friends, your family. And even if they don't want to listen, there are places on the internet, there are people who are paid to stay up 24 hours to listen to you, to make sure that you have someone to talk to. And with that support, you can move on to more steps. You can move on to curing yourself, to getting help, going to a psychiatrist, going to a psychologist, having them talk to you, and getting your feelings out there, finding root causes. And even if you are very far gone, if you are very encapsulated with yourself, antidepressants can help. They are not just for grizzled action heroes. They are drugs, and they aren't chemically addictive, but you can get addicted to them with your own behavior, and you have to use it with moderation. You have to feel it. You have to make sure that you stay on the path that can get you cured. And for those of you, because a lot of you are not depressed, a lot of you may know someone who is depressed, but a lot of you may know someone, and you're wondering what to do, because you may have gone up to them and was like, oh, it's okay, you'll get stronger. This moment will pass. You'll feel like eventually this will pass, and that's not really very helpful for a depressed person, because they don't see that. They don't feel that sort of comfort. And what you have to do to encourage their own growth as a person, what you want to do is you want to encourage them to turn their depression into something beautiful. You have to encourage them to go into art, to write something. Even if they're not very good at writing, even if they're not very good at art, they have to put it outside so that it isn't sitting inside. And you have to make sure that they're able to be heard, that someone is there to hear them, either the canvas on the piece of paper or the Kaiser employee in the middle of the night. Because your life is more valuable than that bottle full of medication. It's more valuable than the bullet in that gun. And for me, it was more valuable than that tub full of water that I attempted to drown myself in. Because depression is just a disease. It is not weakness. It is not cowardice. It is not a genetic deformity. And it is curable. And it is not funny. Thank you.